a great way to meet somebody. So we've been talking around this a little bit, and I would love to hear your take on this. I think after having a podcast and talking to all kinds of people about dating, all this kind of stuff, the thing that I have kind of settled on, the way that I think I would tell someone to go and find a romantic connection, find an activity that you like, find something in the world that you like. I don't care if it's Dungeons and Dragons or fashion or whatever it is, and put a pin in what it is. But find something that you like doing. Find some kind of organization or gathering of something that happens regularly, where there are people, in your age range and of the appropriate gender, to go and meet them, and just go do that thing and meet people, and make your goal to make friends. Make your goal to make friends, especially
for guys.
I think especially for men. I think also for women.
Yeah.
But I think especially for men, because one of the things that's really important, at least that I've found, is it is important to have healthy friendships in your life as a man, just in general.
Regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, if you're trying to find someone who wants to spend the rest of their life with you, you want to have like a good life.
Yeah.
And having healthy friendships is a really important part of a healthy life.
Do you think that a lot of men, that when they get in a relationship, they kind of like forget about their friends? But I've seen it in marriages, actually, that the wife has a bunch of girlfriends, but the guy, not really. He's not really hanging out with any of his friends from work or from, I don't know, even back from school or college.
Yeah.
Why would that be?
I think it's kind of the same thing we've been talking about. I think, and everyone's different, of course, but I think for a lot of men, we're not good at building those sort of deep friendships that are going to last. We're not good at building those important friendships that are going to make you feel seen and loved, which is important. It's important to like have friends that you love and to be loved by your friends. And I think there's two things happening there. I think a lot of the time it's because the friendships weren't very strong to begin with. And so
lack of intimacy.
Yeah. So the marriage becomes his like primary source of intimacy, of connection, right? And the other thing that I think is happening there is, for a lot of folks, we still have kind of what I would call kind of a traditional gender roles relationships, right? Which, I'm super happy that people have the option to choose that now. It's kind of what I do a little bit, honestly, if I'm being honest. But, there's this dynamic where the man's job is to earn money and provide stability.
Right.
And the woman's job becomes taking care of his, taking care of the home, and taking care of kind of social things. Like, her job kind of becomes the social coordinator.
Nowadays, is it the big case? I wish it was, but I don't think it is. That's the thing. And I've seen people in marriages with kids, and the wife feels that she needs to get a job.
Oh, yeah.
Because the guy feels sometimes that he's been taken advantage of. And I don't think that's right. Because having kids, I've seen, I don't know, but I've seen a really close friend of mine has 2 kids. It's more than a full-time job. Because even when you have a full-time job, at least you clock out at some point. She's constantly with the kids and the stress, and then they have this issue with money because he feels that, oh, but you're not working. But this is a job. This is a full-time job. And I'm like, oh my God. So I don't think it's the case anymore. I wish it was like that, the provider and then the woman in the house taking care, because I think that we are made for that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not doing anything about it. But anyways, I'm more like, career, work, hustle. But I feel that in our nature, we are supposed to be, taking care of our husband and our kids and the house.
Okay.
But I don't think it's the case anymore.
I totally hear you. And this is one of the ways that we're a little different, which I love. What I would love is if we had a society where you could do what you felt you were well suited to do. Right? One of my dearest guy friends, is a stay-at-home dad. His wife is very, very successful in entertainment. She's really, really wonderful, but she has to work 80 hours a week. She has to work a lot to do what she does, because they were both in the industry and her career just blew up. So
Wow.
they just talk to each
They were both in the same industry?
similar. Yeah. They both, I mean, both in entertainment, which is a lot, right? But she, is very, very good. They're both very talented, very wonderful, but
So he gave up? He's not doing that anymore?
they wanted a family, and he said, you know what? I'm going to be.
Wow.
Right,
He sacrificed it for the kids.
Life is
That it
full of,
works.
yeah.
I
I think life is full of those choices, And look, he's a fantastic dad. He's a wonderful dad. He runs that household like a pirate ship. That's great. And the kids are great, and they love it. And the wife, she has a great time, and it's great. Which I only say that to say, I do understand that many men really want to be a provider. You just feel it in here.
Right.
And many women want to be a nurturing caregiver and to raise children. You just feel it in here. I totally get that. For me, what I would love is a system where you can do what you want to do. And if you're a guy who wants to be a provider, you can find a woman who wants to be provided for and to be a nurturer. And you can say, great, this could be a wonderful partnership. Let's go for it, And if you're a guy who wants to be a caregiver and a provider, you can find a woman who wants to be a provider. Or if you're somebody who wants to be like sort of half and half, you figure out a way to do that, right?
Yeah, but these are things that you have to discuss before you have the kids.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that is happening with my friend is that she wanted this ideal marriage and kids and everything, but I don't think he's the right person, her husband for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
And that is sad. But, because with your friends, it works.
Yeah.
It was a puzzle and it fit right in.
Yeah.
But I guess it is very important to have these kind of conversations, even if they're unorthodox,
Yeah. I mean, I would say big picture, I think things are changing, right? We've gone through whatever your opinions about feminism. We've spent the last few generations changing what is allowed for women and changing what is expected of women. And I think we're kind of going through a process where we're beginning to do that for men. And I think that's good because a lot of our expectations for men are really built on a system where women are expected to do a lot of unpaid labor, are expected to do that job of being a mom and now also having a job, right? Which is bananas.
I think it's insane.
I think it's harder right now to be a mom than it ever has been in Western culture because we're more separated from our families. So it's less likely that you have the grandparents or
that is so true.
Aunts and uncles,
My mom was in Greece.
right? And which is great that you have the capacity and the opportunity to go to the other side of the world, for sure. Yeah. But in terms of starting a family, we don't have those sort of built-in support systems. So you have to be incredibly wealthy and you end up hiring those support systems. You hire an au pair.
But even when I was growing up, my mom didn't have my grandparents because they were living in a village. So we had a maid in the house and we had a nanny.
Yeah.
Because she was working full time.
I saw that episode of Closet Confessions about privilege. But yeah, and that's very fortunate. That's wonderful. But I think right now we make it harder than ever to be a mother. And that I think makes dating very, very tricky because a lot of women are looking at the situation where they're looking to meet somebody and they're like, are you going to be there for me? Are you going to be able to make this a good life? When women are, looking at a very, very, very difficult span of life in terms of having children, right? Because they're going to get, especially in America, not enough parental leave, right? And you have to go back to your job, and then you have to hire somebody or find some way to do childcare, and it's mostly going to fall
super expensive. Also,
insanely expensive.
Yeah, she was telling me because they were trying to get a nanny for the weekend and go somewhere. $1,300 for 3 days or something. Wow, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But another point that I wanted to make is that I've seen, and I'm one of those that. A lot of women don't want to have kids nowadays.
Sure.
More and more women, most of my girlfriends, they are in a relationship, they don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of being scared with the day we live in.
I think it's, I think, not to get all weird about it, but the economy, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's a big effect on us.
It does. The modern state of wealth inequality has a direct impact on dating. Not to get political about it, but I think the system we have right now, especially in America, especially in the West, really makes it so that you have to be very, very wealthy to have a shot at what we would call a traditional lifestyle.
Yeah.
And everyone else is kind of like scrambling around trying to figure it out, but there's no real template for how to, it's so complicated and so many things have changed so quickly that I think a lot of folks are just like, it's just not clear what you're supposed to do. So there's a lot in there, but yeah.
So many things affecting relationships. But let's go back to burning questions. So is monogamy natural or is it a social conditioning?
I don't know. I don't know, and I almost don't care. Like, I'm a monogamous guy. Maybe it's because my parents were monogamous and that's just what I saw and that's what I decided I would be. Maybe.
You know what? For me, even the question is wrong. What does social conditioning mean? For me, if I'm in a relationship, I can't imagine like my boyfriend touching or even texting another woman.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with social conditioning. It has to do with like, I mean, if you love somebody, how would you be okay with them sleeping with somebody else? So I think the people that use this, they're just people that they don't really want to be in a relationship and they want to have options. So it's just being greedy. That's what I think.
Look, if somebody tells me that what they really, really want in life is to be in a throuple and to have two partners and that's what works for them, I don't know. I'm not going to tell them what's in their heart. You know, it's not me. I can't do it. I can't even like manage. Just like scheduling having two partners sounds like a nightmare to me. I can barely schedule my own life.
Too much work.
Yeah, no, it's way too much work.
Yeah. And I feel like, it's like being vulnerable with two people equally, that there's no way. How much energy? That's a lot of energy.
I don't know. I'm sure there are people who make it work, but for me, the philosophy or the connection that works for me is having a partner who I can share everything with her and feel seen by her. And also, again, I want to have friends who I can also share myself with and who I can also feel seen by. But for me, that romantic partnership is really kind of a primary.
Yeah. So if anybody asks for an open relationship, you're like, not for me.
It's not for me.
I respect that. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Is emotional cheating worse than physical cheating?
I think they're very similar, honestly.
I think they are equally bad.
Yeah. And cheating is never the problem. Cheating is a symptom, I think.
Right. Or the result.
The result. Yeah. Because it means there's something in the relationship that's not being resolved. There's some need that someone feels that isn't being met. And it's hard, right? Because life changes, relationships ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You can find yourself in a place where you're not getting what you need out of the relationship. And it can be really hard to say to your partner, hey, I'm not getting what I need right now. Can we talk about it?
Right.
That sounds so simple just to say, but I think it's sometimes it's hard to ask. It's very often hard to hear.
Yes.
So I get it. It's tricky. But I think cheating is what happens when you're not in a relationship that's giving you what you need. You either need to heal that relationship or you need to understand that relationship is not giving you what you need and you need to get out of that relationship.
Yeah. And I hate when they call it a mistake because it's not a mistake. It's something that you put some work on it, like to text, to arrange. It's not like, oh, I fell and ended up on a bed with somebody else. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's equally bad, even, the texting, even liking the pictures. And I'm not like, I have to control somebody's activity on social media.
Yeah.
But I feel if some guys like scrolling and seeing and liking and commenting, that's kind of cheating.
Do you have a conversation with someone you're dating at some point about like, how do you use social media? Because I think now with cheating, because you mentioned like liking their posts or like commenting or like sliding.
What I do, I don't ask them anything about it. I don't go on their social media.
You leave it alone.
I leave it alone. I prefer not to know. And I'm the kind of person that I would never go through anybody's phone, even if I had like the most crazy ideas and questions.
Yeah.
One, I'm too proud to do that. And I think two is that if you're looking and digging, you are going to find something that it might be nothing.
Yeah.
There's no way. So
yeah.
I prefer not to look at what they do on their Facebook, Instagram, social media, or their phone.
Yeah. It's interesting. I find the question interesting because so much of what we do we spend a lot of time online now, you know. I try as much as I can not to. I think social media, except for this YouTube channel, which you should. I think a lot of
Where's the guy?
you know, it's true. Like a lot of social media, it's very easy to spend a lot of time on social media now.
Oh yeah,
You know, and the
lose track of time like crazy.
you scrolling and yeah.
Done.
But you know, I think it's an interesting question because like the part of me that's like scrolling on TikTok, I don't use TikTok, but like the part of me that's scrolling on TikTok for a long time, it's still me, you know, right?
Yeah.
And like what I'm doing online, it's still me. Like, does it matter to my partner, or is that something that I should share with my partner about like what I'm seeing or what I'm enjoying? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
The thing is what you see, because if you go on my feed, you're going to see just dogs, puppies, food, and makeup. It's mostly liking, DMing,
Sure.
you know, commenting.
Yeah.
That's going on OnlyFans, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that's something that I don't know if it would be okay with me. I guess the OnlyFans, if my boyfriend wanted to be like either to film for OnlyFans or like follow other girls on OnlyFans. I don't think that's something that I would be okay with.
I don't think I would either. I think OnlyFans, that's interesting. This is a whole rabbit hole. We can do a whole episode on this. Well, let's put a pin in OnlyFans because like
that is a little bit different from social media for sure.
I would call that like sex work.
Right.
I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's porn. So.
yeah. Oh, right. That's what we call it on the internet, right? But like, you know, there are parts of Instagram.
Yeah, that can be pretty corny. Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer here, but I think it's an interesting question to ask. And I don't know, like maybe my hope would be that we can start to talk to our partners about what's happening online or what you're doing or because I think it's a part of you. You're still you, even when you're using Instagram.
Right.
You know, I don't know because you're a beautiful woman with a lot of followers on social media. Which I mean, I'm not saying it's easy for you. I know it's a lot of work, but like you know, beautiful women do well on lots of social media because there are guys who want to look at beautiful women on the internet.
Because if you go on my followers, it's mostly men.
Yeah, I bet it's mostly men. So, but right, like, I think for, so, okay, a lot of the sort of like manosphere guys, right, have really, really strong opinions about this, right? And it's like, well, if you're dating a woman who has over, I don't know, 10,000 followers or whatever, right? Like that it means something bad because she's looking for attention or, you know what I mean?
Really?
You haven't heard this?
No.
But I think there's a like level of threat. I think if there's a woman who's attractive and she's on the internet and she has thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, there are men who feel like, well, you know, one of those 10,000 followers, or forgive me, I don't know how many, but you know, one of those like many followers is going to try and chat with her, is going to try and say hello to her, right? And if there's lots and lots and lots of them, a lot of them are going to do that. I think men, sometimes it's like, we don't understand what it's like to be a woman online because it's very different, you know?
So we get a lot of abuse actually.
Yeah.
You should see my DMs, but
honestly, if you
we never ever meet like anybody from Instagram.
Yeah.
Maybe if they look decent and we have a conversation, but I've started conversations like this and about like fitness or about Christianity or about like interesting things, and then that conversation turns to really terrible, like about sex, and then I just block them right away. And I'm like, wow, you know.
If you'd be comfortable, we should do a closet confession sometimes where we show each other DMs from Instagram. Because mine are like my friends sending me reels. Mine are like, oh look, it's a dog doing a funny thing.
To get those DMs, like I send my sister all the time, food, puppies, dancing, and all that. But when I get like DMs from guys, I'm always a little scared to open it.
Of course, no, Maria. I'm saying I have 3 DMs on Instagram, and it's just my friends sending me like dog reels. I'm not joking. There's 3 of them.
But you don't get abused, so that's good.
Well, it's my guy, right? It's my guy because it's different, you know. I have 130 followers.
I know guys that get abused by women.
Sure.
Honestly, a friend of mine was a waiter in a really cool restaurant in Miami. He got grabbed by women.
In real life, on Instagram. Okay, yeah.
Men also get abused. It's not just women.
Yeah, that's true. It can go both ways.
So, yeah, it's a good question. Okay, can a guy cheat but still love their partner? Talking about cheating. If it's just like, I don't know, I wouldn't forgive it. I wouldn't be okay with it, but it's a question
Sure.
about guys.
Sure. So I think the short answer is yes. Again, I think cheating is a symptom, not the problem. And if you feel love for someone, and love is such a hard word to use because it's perspective, right? I think a romantic partner can still be in love with someone, love someone genuinely, and not navigate a problem well, so that you end up having that symptom, feeling like you need to go find that somewhere else. Now, I think it's fair that if you're cheating, there's some work you have to do. Right? If you are in a state where you're not able to manage your own emotions, you're not able to manage your own desires, you're not able to navigate that relationship well enough to where you can surface the problem and resolve the problem, and that you need to go find intimacy, romantic intimacy, whether it's emotional or physical, somewhere else, that's a big warning flag that you've got some work to do. Or maybe both, that's not the right relationship for you, right? If I'm trying to say to somebody, hey, I have this need, I'm not feeling seen right now, can we talk about this? And I'm not to blame my partner, but if my partner isn't able to hear that and have that conversation, I don't think that's permission to cheat. I think that's probably an indication that you need to end the relationship. Again, I think cheating is often a symptom, not a problem.
I like that. I like that take. Oh, how can I tell if a guy friend is into me or if he's just being nice?
That's a good question. Listen, I'm a big fan of women.
So you believe that there can be friendship between a guy and a woman?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Some of my closest friends are women.
Interesting.
I know, I've definitely been on dates with people who have told me that's a red flag, that they don't want to date me because I have. Because you have a boyfriend? Yeah, and that was my signal to say thank you very much, wish you all the best.
Wow.
I think so. If you're a guy and you've decided that you're going to try to have healthy relationships with friends where you can be vulnerable, where you can really kind of feel seen, put your defenses down, not worry about. Yeah. That's great first step. The problem with that is now you need to find other people who want to have those kinds of friendships. Women are much more interested in doing that than men. They're much more comfortable doing that.
Right.
So you're just going to have a harder time as a guy finding those kinds of healthy friendships with men. So that's why a lot of my close friends are women. Now, a lot of my close friends are also men. I'm lucky to have a lot of amazing guy friends who do this work, who try to do that thing. But a lot of times it's just a lot easier to find friendship with women. Now, sometimes it happens where that intimacy that friendship will turn into something more romantic.
I feel that the ideal romantic relationship starts from friendship.
Sure.
That would be for me ideal.
I think that's really wise, right? Because, and again, going back to how to meet people, right? Ideally, you want to have the opportunity to actually understand someone, experience them. How do they function? Are they kind to other people? And it takes a while to get to someone. It takes a while, I think, to get to know somebody that way. I think it's only once you know someone fairly well that you really have an idea about whether or not that might be a romantic fit, right? And I do think in one way that's a way in which traditional courtship was really good, because 60 years ago we would have been in the same village and we would have been like, oh wow, you have all your teeth and we're in the same age range, fantastic, we're meant to be. Because you don't have options, you don't have options, you're the two people of the same age group. And you're great, we're going to get married and love each other forever and have 50 kids, Yeah. But now that your options are literally anyone in the globe, if you're somebody who wants to travel, you can get on a dating app and match with somebody in London and go on a first date in London if you have that kind of money. Yeah. I don't, spoiler. But, at least in a city, if you're in a city with 8 million people, which we're here in LA, That's a lot of people, right?
That's
Anyway.
a lot of people.
All I have to say, we don't have the luxury of just like only knowing 150 people and knowing that like one of the 4 people in your age range are going to be your partner, which is good because you have a lot of options, because you can meet someone who.
Because you can name luxury the fact that we can meet so many people.
Yes, so it's a good thing,
It is a good
but
thing.
it's also a bad thing because it's harder to spend a lot of time with people in a way that you really understand them and know if it's the right thing for you to pursue romantically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot.
That all started with, is it okay to have girlfriends?
The question was, how can I tell if my guy friend is into me,
Right.
or if he's just, nice, just friendly?
Yeah. I mean, guys have the same problem. Like, I don't know if a woman is into me until she like hits me on the head.
I can tell you, it's so easy.
Oh.
And so she's gonna start be like, oh, really? Like touchy-feely.
Yeah.
She's gonna be texting more. She's gonna have a nickname for you. It's gonna be sweet. She's gonna treat you different than she treats every other guy. It's so easy. And it's so easy.
Okay, I guess. I mean, every guy is different. I think everyone is afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
I think everyone is afraid to show a signal of interest because you don't want to get that no.
Yeah, and it's not a nobody. That's your friend.
Yeah.
So it is very sensitive
Yeah.
for sure. But
I think it's hard.
But it also sucks if like both of them like each other and both of them are scared. So it has happened to me that I opened up to, a friend. I saw signs. So it wasn't just like, but I was still super scared. I was shaking. Like he told me, because I told him, hey, I want to meet you tonight. I want to talk to you about something. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, so I want to tell you. And I couldn't tell him. I was getting stuck and like, my voice was not coming out, and I was like sweating. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I was nervous. Like, you're with me. What are you talking about? Why are you nervous? And well, I told him, and
That's really sweet.
but
So he liked you too.
yeah, he did. But he lives in Greece.
Okay.
But I still love him, and I still think about him. But yeah, I remember I was so terrified to tell him.
Yeah.
And he was respecting me so much that he would never tell me.
He would never tell you if he liked you.
No, he would never made a move.
So
He wouldn't have made a move.
I think this is a problem.
Which is sweet.
It's very.
But at the same time, it's like, why do I have to do all the work?
Yeah.
It's just so much easier.